Hi everybody, welcome to another AP Psychology video. This video is going to be about ethics in research. So lots of psychology, most of the ideas we have, it's a science and we gain our knowledge through research, and you have to do things according to certain ethical guidelines. Psychology is a powerful tool, and it can be used in the wrong way. For instance, in the 1910s and 20s, there was a movement called the eugenics movement, and this movement treated people with low intelligence. It mistreated them, sometimes using methods of sterilization that was involuntary. So psychology can be misused. It's also been misused in history by certain totalitarian regimes who use propaganda that manipulates psychological concepts. So we have to think in terms of ethics to make sure we're treating people the way they deserve to be treated and the way that we're acting morally. So that's what this video is about. The first thing, when psychologists do research, they write up a proposal of what they want to do with all of the detailed outline of all the steps, and they submit that proposal to an independent review board. This would be a group of people, other psychologists most of the time, and they would read it and they would make sure that the study was going to be okay, that the research was not going to violate any of the ethical codes. So that's the independent review board. All research needs to be run past an independent review board. When the IRB is what it's called, is looking at it, the proposal, they're looking to see if there's any potential harm to any people or animals. And they're weighing the harm to see costs and benefits. So sometimes some of the research might harm animals, but if it's a little bit of harm and there's some big benefit, then that research would be allowed. If there's a lot of harm to animals and the benefit doesn't seem that great, the research would not be allowed. There's some people who think that there should be no research on animals, but that's another story. Another thing you'll see is making sure there's no harm to human beings whenever the subjects are human. And they have a couple of things they can do to help with that. One is that any human being who is in the research, who's going to be a subject, must be informed about what the research is about, and they must sign consent. So you have to inform the people what it's going to be about, and they have to consent to be part of the research. Now, sometimes you can't inform them about everything, or else it would ruin the research if they know too much. So the IRB would work with you to tell you how much you need to inform them and not inform them. Another thing is that all research, human subjects, it needs to be voluntary. People have to agree to participate. If they do not agree, then you cannot do the research on them. Also, at the conclusion of the research study, you have to give the research participants the opportunity to withdraw their data. So after the experiment happens, let's say the subject is about something that's sensitive. Let's say it's about abortion, and the person does the research, but then they don't want their data to be part of the research. They're allowed to withdraw it, so they can take their findings out of the conclusion. And the way that the people know about the research is that at the end of the project, people have to be debriefed and told what the research is about. So after the research is done, you tell the subjects what it was about, and they have the opportunity to withdraw their data. So question is, how does this inform and constrain psychologists? Psychologists have to remember that they can't just play God and do whatever they want with human beings and with animals. They have to respect humans, they have to respect animals, and they have to treat people fairly and morally. So The ethical guidelines are meant to constrain people and make sure that they're doing those things. There is a question of deception. When is deception allowed? Because some psychological concepts can only be studied if the participants don't know what it's about. So the IRB would look at any research that's going to use deception, and they would decide, is this absolutely necessary? Is there no other way to study this? And if they determine that the deception is necessary and that the potential benefit is high, then they would allow deception to occur. So that's the short video on ethics. Later on, we'll talk about ethics when it comes to therapy, but this is ethics when it comes to research. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day.